Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today is Fake or Real Thursday, with the craziest stories that just can't be real. Entitled Mum wants my house as payment for marrying her daughter. Our first story comes from the Entitled People subreddit, posted by Eaten by the Argue 1988. Hey Reddit, this is an ongoing show, so I'm putting this here so I can try and make sense of it. My wife's mother has been a narcissist her entire life, to the point where she ended up not going to our wedding because she didn't want to go to the city we both live in. I even offered to drive her here and put them up in a nice house for the week of the wedding, but she decided to surprise us with a wedding that she threw on the same day as our wedding without telling us ahead of time. Anyway, after almost a year of not speaking, she and my wife are trying to have a relationship. I'm not in favour because I've seen how she treats my wife, but my wife is grown up and I have to support her. Just over 6 months ago, my parents decided to give us their house, my childhood home, and we've been remodelling it. We moved in early this month, and my wife, with my blessing, invited her parents over to stay for a week so they could see their grandkids. We have twins, a boy and a girl named Luke and Leia, and to see the city we live in. Everything went fine until breakfast this morning when over coffee, my wife's mother-in-law from now on, drops a bombshell on me. Mother-in-law, so OP, when I had my children, I wanted to have them so that someone could take care of me when I get old. There's some history behind this related to why she fought so hard against my wife and I getting together, but that's another story for another time. Wow, there are so many other stories I want to hear. Like, what was that surprise wedding she threw you? If OP posts them, I'll make sure to do an update. Me, take a sip of my coffee, waiting to see where this is going. Mother-in-law, so since you took her away from me, I think you should be responsible for me too. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to be living in your guest room, the room they've been using for the last week, and I need you to drive us back to our estate so we can pick up our things. Me, I don't follow. Mother-in-law, since you married my daughter, I only have one son to take care of me. It's only fair since you took her. Now you have the responsibility to take care of me. My wife, Mum, I think you should go pack. Mother-in-law, no! You married this racist slur. I should at least get some benefits. My wife, Mum, that's enough. We invited you to stay for the week so you can meet your grandkids, but now I'm starting to see that this might have been a mistake. Me, Mother-in-law, I think you need to go. I'll take you back to your estate, but you're not going to live here. So here's the current situation. Mother-in-law is locked in the guest room, packing. But we suspect that she's actually planning on squatting in the room. Whenever we knock, she starts crying hysterically about how she's going to die old and alone, and how my wife is a bad daughter for not supporting her mum, and how I'm a bad son-in-law because despite having money and a nice house, I'm not supporting her, etc. I'm on the phone with my cousin. He lives down the street from us, and his dad is a justice in the Supreme Court, so hopefully we can get the police to trespass her. And we're working out a response. Update. So, to answer a few questions, the wedding thing was a whole different story. And OP posted a link to the story. Yes, I could have just taken the door off its hinges, called the cops, etc. But all those solutions ended with my mother-in-law in the news or a police blotter somewhere, and I'd like to avoid that. Just sending her back home is enough to keep her away, since it's pretty far, and she's only been to my city twice. This is the second time. The end of the story isn't as juicy as the story itself. My cousin's father, my uncle and godfather, sent over the police captain, who brought 4 officers with him. The police managed to coax her out of the room and escorted her to the station, where a police car from her state was waiting to bring her and father-in-law home. The local captain didn't log the incident in the blotter, which keeps it off the books. Surprise wedding story, posted 2 years ago. The mother-in-law who split our wedding, or why my wife and I had 2 receptions. I don't know how bad this will be compared with other stories out there, but I'm throwing this out into the world to quiet the anger in my heart. I met my now wife when we're working at the same job, teaching at a small rural school. I'm the child of an upper middle class family from a big city, and she's the only daughter of a poorer rural family in a small town. We started dating and eventually got engaged. Someday, I'll talk about all the poop that my mother-in-law has put us through. I convinced my then girlfriend, now wife, to start going to therapy. My wife has anxiety and PTSD, stemming mostly from how her mother treated her growing up. With therapy and support, she's learning to stand up to her mother, and that came to a head when we started planning our wedding. My wife grew to love the city that we now live in and wanted to get married here. She picked a church and a pastor to perform the ceremony, and I took care of the venue and the food for reception. Her mother wanted to be held in their small town, at first because it was too far for her to travel, and after we shot that down, I offered to pick up her entire family and give them a place to stay here in the city, all on my own dime. She seemed to give it up, or so I thought. The day before our wedding, my wife started to get messages from people in her family and from her hometown asking about the venue and the start time. Except, the venue they were asking about was in her hometown. She told them it was here, in the city, but they said that wasn't what her mother told them. Turns out, her mother took it upon herself to arrange her own wedding for me and my wife, and thought she'd just tell us the day before our wedding, and we'd just agree to it and give up our plans of getting married in the city we live in. This was 6 months ago, and my wife and mother-in-law still haven't spoken in a non-fighting way. My wife says that mother-in-law is selfish and controlling. Mother-in-law says that my wife is ungrateful and should pay her back for what she spent throwing her own wedding and reception. Edit, to answer a few questions that came up. We both have very large families. For reference, I have over 300 cousins, uncles, and aunts. Because of the COVID restrictions, and not wanting to be one of those people, my wife and I limited our guest list. What mother-in-law did was invite people from my wife's family who weren't invited, as well as people from their small town, to attend mother-in-law's fake ceremony. Her hope was that she'd drop this on us the day before, and hope that my wife and I, my entire family, our friends and loved ones would just agree that her ceremony was better, and we'd just uproot our wedding and go to the one that she held. But did you? What actually happened? The story just ended there, but down in the comments, I found OP's response to this question. We did not. We threw a second reception a month later for people who couldn't make it for whatever reason. Implied side-eye at mother-in-law. Am I the a-hole for smashing a little girl's face in the cake? Our next post comes from the Am I the a-hole subreddit. Posted by EfficientRespond84. Yesterday, we had a delayed birthday party for my nephew, 8 Male, as he had his appendix removed during his birthday. In a long line of illnesses that he's had over the last few years, that was the most recent issue. He was born premature. The last 2 years, it was intimate family only. This year, we went all out. We got a bouncy castle, a chocolate fountain, booked tickets for go-karts for next weekend, a big cake with different marzipan roses, plant leaves moulded into chocolate from different trees. He's very interested in botany and insects. The cupcakes also had different flowers, leaves, and insects on them. This cost my sister a lot, as they were painstakingly made due to the details. My brother-in-law's friend is married to a woman that's a bit special. He's not a very close friend, but he is included in events. They were both married previously and have 5 children from previous relationships, all of them above 15. However, they do have a 10-year-old daughter, Megan, together, known as their rainbow baby, as she was born after 2 IVF rounds, 4 miscarriages, and 1 stillbirth. She'll gladly tell everyone about her health, journey to conception, and miracle baby, even if you try to make her shut up. She wore a cream-coloured dress to my sister's wedding, upstaged a friend of hers proposal by announcing her pregnancy. When her own sister-in-law graduated, she faked being ill, as she's only ever gone as far as college and not beyond, and couldn't take the attention her sister-in-law was getting. She fakes fainting spells when she doesn't get the attention she needs. Her daughter does the same. She'll fake a seizure when the conversation topic moves away from her. At the party, I was in charge of the food. I set up the cake, cupcakes, and other refreshments in the front room, as there was going to be lots of kids running around, and we didn't want grubby hands all over them before my nephew blew out the candles. Megan kept disturbing me, going in and out of the room, and her mother egged her on. She asked if she could take pictures of Megan eating a cupcake, and then they would join the others in the garden. I said no and locked the door after I'd set everything up and put the key in my bag. After about an hour or so of games, people started to move towards the table area, and my sister asked me to go get the candles and get the cake ready. Megan ran ahead of me, and as I entered the hallway, she unlocked the door, which was a surprise to me, as the key should have been in my bag. Her mother was almost shoulder to shoulder with me when Megan dipped her nose and cheeks into the cake and had this deranged trying to be cute smile on her face. She picked one of the flowers off the cake and ate it. Her mother cheered her on and took a picture before I could react, saying that the first pick of the flowers was hers anyway for being so special. A few more people were in the hallway at this point, including my nephew and sister. He didn't look happy. I don't know what came over me, but I walked up to Megan and smashed her head into the cake. The aftermath was not pretty. Her mother started screeching, which brought more people into the small hallway and the front room. Megan started crying, and her father threatened to do some not so nice things to me before my brother-in-law managed to interfere. He had to literally drag him out of the house. Some people in the crowd laughed, but others stayed quiet. Then those who missed it asked questions, and I explained what happened. Megan and her mother were still in the room and tried to justify their actions, even saying that I was the one who ruined the cake. Others sided with me, saying that nobody wanted to eat a cake with Megan boogers. In the end, they left. My sister has cancelled Megan and her family's go-kart tickets. She also billed Megan's mother for the cake. Megan's mother forwarded the bill to me via WhatsApp message, and I refused to pay it. She said what her daughter did was fixable, but how I reacted was not. She also billed me for Megan's dress for dry cleaning. I have no intention of paying that either. There was quite a commotion on Facebook and WhatsApp groups as my sister is threatening small claims court. The older generation is saying that I'm the a-hole as I acted inappropriately. Am I the a-hole for making a mountain out of a molehill? I mean, you are the a-hole. You shouldn't put your hands on anyone, especially not kids, but I can see why you did it. Down in the comments, OP says, I've already apologised to my nephew, and as he's still upset about the cake, today I told him I'd make it up to him. He said he knows the cake was ruined due to Megan's behaviour, but was still sad that his birthday party had become about Megan and her mother. Even when the other kids were done eating the remainder of the food, they talked about the incident and didn't talk much about his party. Thinking back, I guess I should have put her mother's face in the cake instead. Oh well, what's done is done, and I don't have a time machine. Update, I ended up paying for the dry cleaning and apologised to Megan. Megan's father paid for the cake and some extra cash to make up for the ruined birthday. Megan's mother is banned from all future family events. Her father will only be invited to certain things, minus his wife and Megan. My nephew has put it behind him. I'll be taking him to an amusement park of his choice and pay for him and his closest friends. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.